Alright guys, so as you can see we are here for AOR Austria here today for round number 9 of AOR Season 14 in the PS4 F1 League. And heading into this round I was feeling kind of confident because I do like the track and I'd done a pretty good amount of practice, but it'd taken me quite a while to find a good setup in terms of race pace and qualifying pace, because obviously on this game half the battle in terms of pace is to do with the setups. It's not only to do with how you drive, it's to do with how good your setup is. But you can see here we're on my first qualifying lap here, and throughout my practice I've been doing consistent 105 3s, 4s and 5s, which should be a good time. But you can see on my first run here I've lost the car and I'm in the wall, and that is my first run over and done with already. And yeah, that was pretty annoying because I felt like the first lap I was doing just then was pretty decent, and obviously as the track improves it will get quicker, but I think that would have been a good banker lap. And I know that round here it's pretty easy to corner cut, so you need to put in a good lap, a good banker lap really, to just secure your place hopefully in the top 10 if we can. But well, we're in the garage now, and I came back and it was like, as you can see there's 7.5 minutes remaining, but I was wondering whether or not to go out for another run and then try and get in a third run, but I didn't know whether I had time. I didn't want to take the risk like I did at Baku. And you would have seen there on the monitor that it said that rain was coming, and also the engineer said rain was coming in 10 to 15 minutes, so I headed out with about 5 minutes to go, which is really early because the track will improve towards the end of the session. So on my first lap here of my second run, turn 1 was taken pretty badly there. You've got quite a few cars coming out the pits as well, and we really haven't got the best track conditions at all compared to what they're going to get. But I just didn't want to take the risk with rain coming because I thought it would come before the end, and obviously with no lap on the board yet I really need to just get a decent lap and hopefully secure my place in the top 10. So we tried to get a bit of slipstream there off J Thorne, but that didn't really work too well, and the lap so far has not really been too great. It's once again been quite cautious because qualifying, as I said many times, is, yeah, I can never seem to replicate what I do on time trial on the day, which is pretty annoying because it's always been like that for me in AORs. We almost lose the car there, but yeah, it's not been too bad of a lap, but I don't think it's going to put us in the top 10, so we're going to have to go again. And I have got enough fuel to go again, but you can see we're closing on to 4 minutes remaining, so other people are going to be setting their lap times literally as the session is ending, so they're going to get much better track conditions compared to us. But heading into turn 1 now, you can cut that quite a bit, but I didn't there. I think it was pretty much on the limit, but I didn't cut it. But you can see my first run is a 6.2, which has put me in 15th, and that is not good enough at all. We don't want to be near the back once again. And you can see on the delta we're green in the first sector and getting a much better run out of that corner this time. So hopefully we're about 2 tenths up at this stage, and I was aiming for about a 5.5 because I knew that would put me in a good position. So hopefully we can achieve that here today, and definitely this lap is a lot better as we're now going to head into the fast left-handers here. And you can see I've gone a bit deep there into that one. That's probably cost us a couple of tenths there, and this is a very hard corner to get right. I was wondering whether or not to take it in 6th or 5th, but I took it in 5th for that run there. And you can see we're 2 tenths up on the delta, and through these last 2 corners I could definitely make up a lot of time here. So penultimate corner, that was taken really well there, and so was the final corner. As we now head towards the line, DRS open, and across the line we go with a 5.8, and we are going to run out of fuel, so we can't go again, and we don't have enough time to get back to the pits, change tyres either, especially with the fact that I'm literally going to be running out of fuel in a couple of seconds. So we're going to have to retire, and at best we're going to be in P7, which is decent, but you've got to see whether other people go quicker, which most likely they will do. And you can see the final results there. We are in P10, which is kind of the worst position to be in because I wanted to be in P11 so we could start on the softs like we did in Baku, but it's P10, so we got to start on our ultra soft tyres that we used for our lap. But we have 5 red lights now, and it's lights out and away we go here for AOR Austria. Decent getaway, but not quite as good as B-Colt to the left of us. We're going to try and get up the inside here of Clarkey and the Williams, taking it pretty cautiously into turn 1. We've been hit, and we are facing the wrong way, and that is now us into last place. And I think there was something like 5 cars out there at turn 1. I think there was a collision in the top 4, and then obviously the collision involving me. And after looking back at other people's footage and my own, I know that wasn't my fault. I was just minding my own business. I think it was Aresi who went a bit late on the brakes and hit B-Colt, and then B-Colt obviously when he got hit half spun and then hit my sideboard, which caused me to spin as well. So that is so frustrating, like when you practice that much and you feel confident and you go into turn 1 in 10th, not great, but then you come out of it in last, and you know, once again got to fight from the back again, as I've done in the last 3 races. So P15 it is. RC Alonso 2nd or 3rd in the championship, can't quite remember what he's in, but he's coming into the pits. He's got front wing damage, and Ali K is leading, the championship leader, who retired in Baku, and I was hoping to possibly try and gain some points on him around here. He only set a 105.5 to take pole with, and I felt like I could definitely do that, but obviously we couldn't replicate it on the day. So lap 2 it is, and we are in P14, probably like 5 seconds off the back of the group. And as always, we're not going to give up. We've got to try and fight as best we can to try and get some good points, because I know obviously at this stage I'm in P5 in the championship, and we've got to get all the points we can get, because I want to try and get in the top 3 this year in the championship, because I'm not far off it at the moment. And for the first year as a rookie, to get in the top 3 would be a really, really good achievement. And obviously there's still a long way to go, but if I can improve my qualifying in the second half of the year when I get my new monitor and everything, hopefully we can still be in the fight for the championship. But with Ali K in the lead at the moment, it's going to be pretty difficult. Obviously, if we're going to finish outside the points he's going to win, he's going to extend the gap over us to be something like 60 points, which against a driver like Ali K, who's a really, really good driver, you're not going to gain that sort of points. So we've got to try our best to see where we can finish today, as we set a decent time there, 1:08.8, which is decent pace, but not quite as quick as the leaders at the moment. But our tyres are pretty worn out, obviously having spun there and also doing 2 laps on our tyres as well. But you can see we've managed to catch the group in front, showing the pace we have. And I know Big C's on the softs, but you've got guys here on the super softs, and also some of them on the ultra softs as well, I believe. And around here it was a split strategy between a 2-stop and a 1-stop, and I was going to go for a 1-stop even though we're starting on the ultra softs, because I knew that is the quicker option for me personally. I don't know what it's like for other people, but that's what I'm going to do. But you can see the 2 cars in front going side by side, and we're going to make a move here on Big Shot, who's ahead of us in the championship, so that's important to make that move. Although it's only for P13, which isn't great, but I know when people make, well, there's obviously going to be people doing 2 stops, so hopefully we can still get a good result. And if we can get in the points today after once again having to come from the back, it's a good result. But I was obviously aiming for decent points, better than just 10th. Hopefully something like 7th or 6th or something like that would be a good result, and definitely good damage limitation once again. But next up is Silverstone, my best track on the calendar. Pretty easy to overtake around there. I know lots of overtakes around there, as shown in PSGL. Like, I know many places to overtake, and hopefully around there in all conditions I've got the pace, so hopefully we can get a podium, if not a win. That would be amazing around Silverstone. But you can see now, lap 10, the tyres are really wearing out. We're getting massive oversteer now, because I think at this stage my rears were on something like 55%, maybe more than that, I'm not entirely sure. But you can see the 2 cars in front going side by side. But we are now up into 7th place, as quite a few people have pitted, obviously doing a 2-stop strategy, unless they started on, well, actually I think the ones who have pitted are doing a 2-stop strategy, like David Greco, unless they've got damage where they would have pitted really early. But David Greco, they're putting in the fastest lap of the race, and I think he got damage from pretty much fresh air, which is pretty stupid. But you can see extending track limits and really struggling to keep the car in a straight line right now. But yes, quite a few glitches on the game. It's still not great. Like in qualifying, after my crash on my first run, I was going back into the pits, and then the half of my front wing, which I lost, came back going into the pits. But once again, David Greco putting in some great times there. But I think with his damage he got from the glitch on the game, I don't know how competitive he's going to be from here, because he's going to have to go for an alternate strategy. But you see we're pretty much all over the place. We've got very little grip, but we're going to be pitting at the end of this lap, going on the softs till the end, and P5 it is. And I think the people in front of us are all doing 1-stops and everyone else behind is possibly doing 2-stops. I might be wrong about that, but you can see we haven't actually dropped that far behind Big C. He's definitely going to have the faster tyres at this stage, because our tyres are pretty much dead. We've got Big Shot all over the back of us here trying to go for a couple of overtakes, but yeah, we're not going to really defend him because I don't think he's close enough to make any sort of manoeuvre. But we're going to be heading into the pits now, and yeah, hopefully we can have a good pit stop. I think we're going to probably come out in something like 15th or 16th place, but obviously people will be pitting again, and hopefully we'll have the pace to catch up with a lot of the other 1-stop people, because I definitely felt like I had really good pace around here. And once again, it's really frustrating because I know that if I qualify higher up I can fight at the front, but qualifying in the mid pack you're going to be under threat from collisions into turn 1 as shown today. But coming out the pits here on lap 13, we're in P15, and RC Alonso and the super softs behind is pretty much going to go for a move here. And I think I was thinking to myself at this stage, I'm going to probably let him go because he's going to be quicker on the super softs than I am on the softs. So we go a bit deep there and he goes through, and we've got my teammate Ollie behind also on the super softs. But let's see how Alonso's pace is. He might not actually be that quick, and if he's not, we're going to have to make the move back past. But obviously him getting damage on lap 1, I think he's going to be doing a 2-stop, so perhaps his super softs are pretty worn at this stage, so who knows. And you can see he hasn't actually pulled away from us that much, so yeah, I think we're going to have to make a move back again. So getting pretty close here, but the dirty air effect around this track, especially in the in the second sector, is pretty much horrible to drive with. You get so much understeer, and you can see Alonso's made a mistake there, and we're going to go through back up into P15, and someone's in the pits now, so that's now going to be P14. And you can see moving on to lap 15 you've got H Racing Green coming out the pits. He's also doing a 1-stop. He's got slightly fresher softs, and he's just come out in front of us, which is pretty frustrating because we're going to have to probably we're going to have to try and make a move on him here. But getting very close to the back of him, and I think we actually did touch him, but somehow not getting damage from that. I just outbraked myself a bit too much, but hopefully we're not going to be held up too much from him. And I know our pace is really, really good, and hopefully we can catch some of the other guys on 1-stops like Kian, and I think Clarky as well. And obviously you can see on the mini-map there's quite a big group of cars, and a lot of them are doing 2-stops, so I should think we're in a good position to get some points, which is once again a very good comeback. But it's so frustrating because the last 3 races, I think Canada I was last after lap 1, Baku I qualified last, and then here I was last after turn 1, and then Canada managed to make it up into the points, as I did in Baku as well, getting into the top 5. So hopefully today we can get a decent points haul for damage limitation. But you can see getting pretty close to the back of H Racing Green, once again locking up, almost getting damage again, but getting away with that. Going purple in sector 1, you would have seen there, so we got decent pace. But H Racing Green has gone wide there, and are we possibly close enough to set up a move here? He's going to go defensive. We're going to go around the outside here, possibly around the outside of turn 1's never really going to happen. I should have gone for the cutback there, but I didn't, so that was a mistake there for myself. But we are now up into P12, and I was really hoping to just get the move done on H Racing Green now. And you can see into turn 2 I'm going to go up the inside here, braking much later than him and going full lock there on the wheel, but yeah, not managing to make the move. And lap after lap I was getting a bit more frustrated trying to make this move because the dirty air, like you'll see in these next couple of corners, just the understeer you get from the dirty air. I was running 1.6 wings, which didn't help either for understeer, but I felt like that was the best wings to run around here. But you can see we're losing to H Racing Green a bit there, but we've got good pace, so we can probably try and make a move. But you can see now on to lap 20 and still we're behind him. We couldn't find any way through, and his pace wasn't bad, but you can see Gaming to Best is off the road there, and that's now put us up into the points, which is good. But His pace wasn't bad, but I knew ours was better, and in order to catch the group in front, I knew I had to try and make the move in the next couple of corners, because our tyre wear was a lot better on the softs compared to what it was in the ultra softs, and my pace was really good on the softs as well, so I knew I had to try and make the move as quickly as possible. I was still yet to have a penalty, and at this stage I only had one warning, so I knew quite a lot of people, as you can see the H Racing Green extended track limits there on the exit of turn 1, so that made me realise that a lot of people had probably got penalties at this stage, so I just knew I had to keep it pretty cautious in order to not get a penalty, and hopefully we can gain some positions at the end there. But once again going purple in sector 1 and still not able to make the move here on lap 23, so I think we've been stuck behind him for 9 laps now, which is pretty annoying, but this time we're a lot closer. Rich mix now, can we possibly set up a move here into turn number 2? The slipstream is not very powerful at all. It was really difficult to get past, but going up the inside now late on the brakes, locking up the right front tyre, but once again we can't get through. We didn't get good enough traction, and he left me racing room there on the inside, but still not able to make the move. But we both were catching the 2 cars in front, who I believe were Kian and Clarkey, so it was looking decent, but P9 it is. And yeah, the cars behind, I think a couple of them are going to be quicker than us towards the end on the 2-stop strategy, but I think we've pretty much secured our place in the points, but it's about how far we can get out. But there's a mistake there from H Racing Green, and this is our chance now, going side by side down the pit straight, still side by side with the DRS open, not really gaining too much on him, but going down the inside of turn number 1 there to make the move, and that is now us into P8, and now it's the time to catch the 2 cars in front if we can. I think they're about 5 seconds in front, and hopefully they'll battle, because I can see on the minimap they're pretty close together, so hopefully they're going to battle here, and hopefully we'll catch them pretty quickly and hopefully try and make a move if we can. But still yet to have a penalty, so I was hoping they have a penalty and that would promote me up to P6, but you can see we've pretty much extended the gap to H Racing Green, and we're starting to close on the 2 cars in front, but going a bit wide there, and off the track we go after hitting that yellow curb, and that's cost us about 2 seconds there. Very lucky to keep it in a straight line, and you can see H Racing Green's right on the back of us again now, and we're going to have to, well, the dirt came off my tyres pretty quickly, so we've got maximum grip again now, but we've lost quite a bit of time from that, which is pretty frustrating. But luckily H Racing Green did not get in front, which is good news for us. But now we've got to refocus, regroup, get back into our rhythm and try and get up to the cars in front, who before I made that mistake I was catching them at about half a second a lap, so it was looking decent for us. And once again going purple in sector 1, that wasn't a glitch, it was just whoever set the fastest lap I think is running a bit higher wings. But you can see now onto lap 32 we've now caught up with the back of Clarkey. We're still about a second off him, but we're going to get DRS soon. And they actually battled, Clarkey and Kian, they had a good battle there, but you can see Kian's now made his way through and he's starting to get away. And with 4 laps remaining, I didn't know whether they had a penalty or not, but I was still going to go for a move if I can get close enough to make a move. But Clarkey was starting to close back onto Kian, and I was hoping that we'd kind of all group back up together and hopefully try and make a move on both of them. But it's been a decent comeback to get into this position of P8 after facing the wrong way at turn number 1. But at Silverstone and in the second half of the season, I really want to just qualify well and be in the fight in the leading group from the start really. But I've made it very hard work for myself in most of these races this year by having to come through from the back. But you would have seen them that my rear left tyre was on 54%, which is quite a bit. But you've seen Clarkey there extended track limits at turn 1, which made me think he may have a penalty, because he did that a few times, and it was a bit frustrating really, because when you get close enough to make a move they'd extend track limits at turn 1, which meant you wouldn't be close enough to make a move there. But I knew that I didn't really have to take any risks, and I was just going to hope that they had a penalty, which would possibly promote me up to P6 if possible. But you can see Kian is starting to hold up Clarkey now, and I think Kian's tyres were getting quite worn out and we're starting to be a bit held up here. But I knew if there was an opportunity to make a move I was going to go for it, but I wouldn't go for anything stupid really to take any risks, because like I knew I'd had 2 warnings at this stage, so I was just going to be pretty cautious to not get any sort of penalties, and I'd seen these 2 in front make quite a few corners where they've extended track limits, so it made me think that they've got a penalty. But now onto the final lap of the race. Yeah, if we can get an opportunity here, we'll go for it, but if not, we're just going to stay cautious now. But getting a bit of oversteer there on the exit. The tyres are starting to get pretty worn out now, but the car was going a bit oversteery, but hopefully we can try and keep it in a straight line, try and not extend track limits, and hopefully we'll have P6 if they have got a penalty, which is really easy to do. I think in my practice, most races I did quite a few race runs of about half the race or so, and in most of them I'd got three or two penalties for corner plotting, 3-second time penalties, so I knew it was pretty easy to do it. But we haven't done it today, which is really, really good news, and just staying out of trouble now towards the end. We've only got 2 corners left. Ali K takes the win, the championship leader wins again for the 2nd time this year, I think, and we're just going to stay behind these 2. That you can't make a move into the final couple of corners, but getting pretty close to the back of Clarkey there, and heading around the final corner towards the line. Clarkey gets a massive step of oversteer there on the exit, but we cross the line and we are now into P6, which is really, really good, and I was really happy with that, to not finish in P8 and take P6 in the end. And yeah, that's 8 decent points. Once again, scoring a decent points finish after having a pretty bad time in terms of pretty bad luck, but hopefully from this race onwards we'll start qualifying near the front. Hopefully we'll be out for trouble, and when I get my new monitor and everything, I think that's gonna enable me to be a bit quicker as well. So I hope you guys have enjoyed. P6 is for us today, and leave a like if you have enjoyed, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and I will see you for Silverstone, my home race coming up. So I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.